Hey, what up, people of Earth? This is the homie Pedro. I want to talk to y'all about uh, surviving domestic violence as a male. Um, it's hard to talk about. There is a domestic violence awareness thing coming up on the 25th at the Salt Lake City Capitol between 4 and 6. I'm trying to get invited to talk. Apparently, there's not going to be a lot of men talking because this is a difficult conversation for men to have. All right. During domestic violence, you can have Stockholm syndrome. I was with my son's mom for 6.5 years, and I always thought things were going to change. And people think domestic violence only in the forms of being hit, yelled at, stuff like that. Imagine going to jail for something you didn't do, having that put on your record, losing your job, having to go homeless for something you didn't do. I've never hit a woman in my life. Domestic violence is real. Women go through domestic violence, men go through domestic violence. All right. Um, she had tried to stab me before. Uh, I would go, I would go for walks. When we were having disagreements, she would lock me out because we had a two deadbolts, like one deadbolt that was and someone from the inside or outside could access. Deadbolt, you had to be inside the apartment to get into. So sometimes I would just sleep outside, and then I'd have to wake up and go to work. Now, how is that not some kind of form of torture? When my family, when I finally came back to, because I was alienated from my family because it was, you can't see your son unless you live with me, you go by my rules, you you do X, Y, and Z. Couldn't even visit my family. And to this day, it still affects me. Not gonna lie. Every time. Now I've been alienated from him for 6 years. So just as that, you know, as a precursor to that, the only reason she did not come and do recourse is because I caught her on film. I caught her on film attacking me and interfering with the communication device. All on film. That's the only reason she never went, because I was saying, hey, you want to take it to family court? Let's go through the criminal process system first because I got you on film attacking me in front of our son. That's the only reason. The only reason. But I was still alienated for 6 years. I didn't even know where he lived until a year ago. I didn't get to see him until this past March. My other son's mom, she hit me with in the shoulder with some heavy globe thing. But I thought, you know what, it's okay because here's the thing that's messed up and why it's generational. My mom used to do the same stuff to my dad. My mom called the police on my dad after I talked about this in a previous video. My dad was on the way. They had prearranged for my dad to, my mom and dad. This is on the landline. This is in the '90s. She's like, yeah, you can come visit the kids. Yeah, they'd love to see you. Click, hangs up. Boom. Hey, 911. Oh my God. My ex-husband, he's over here. He said he's gonna kill me. Cops were waiting outside. I think the only reason he's alive is because he was carrying bags of groceries. Like both of his hands were already shown. They still tackled him at gunpoint. and then stop resisting. And I had to run out there. Oh my God! Please don't kill my dad. And so when you grow up in an environment like that, you you don't feel like you're good enough, and when you're alienated as a child from your parent, and then the cycle continues, and then you next thing you know, you're a parent that gets alienated, and you're like, oh, that must be normal. It's not. It's not normal. But yeah, man, I've had exes put their hands on me in my sleep multiple times, and not in a good way. Like punch me out of nowhere, or I'd wake up and it's just like a phone in my face. I don't even know I don't know what's going on. Hey, this is the police department. Everything okay? Or this girl, she either called the police, her pastor, or her mom, all drunk and stuff. And hopefully they let me speak at these rallies. Unfortunately, whenever you know, whenever it happens to, and I've noticed this narrative because when I went to jail, I was on no bail hold because here's the thing: you grow up with with low self esteem, you do low self esteem stuff. I was still or starved because guess what? They gave my mom custody, not my dad. My dad was too violent because he had threatened to kill her. She did that as a playbook. Next thing I know, I'm going from Utah to New York. And off the kindness of neighbors, strangers, gang members, being like, dang, I'd meet gang members. They'd be like, hey, you shouldn't bad talk your mom. It's not good. And then they would meet my mom and they'd be like, dang, dude, are you okay? Do you want to sleep at my place? like, it's real talk. And they don't take into account when they're doing statistics how many men don't get to see their kids, how it impacts their kids, how their kids end up in prison, how many men unalive themselves because they don't get to see their kids. They don't ever take those things into consideration. How many men don't seek therapy? They just seek the bottle. I've known. Okay, so here's another thing: the domestic violence classes, they'll tell you argue. It's healthy, but you can catch a domestic violence for arguing. You can catch a domestic violence for arguing. I don't know one couple. I've never met one couple that hasn't argued. Domestic violence has many, many, many shapes and forms. And one of the worst things is, man, I remember one time she accused me, and I was just tired. I was tired of being in that relationship. I was drunk. This was um I come back. This was after she pointed a gun at me. I had to hide in this is Layton Police Department. I'd hid in the thing. This is the only time I've ever called the cops on somebody. This is only time because I was in fear for my life. She did this in front of our son, and I hid in the bathroom, hid in the bathtub, and I called the cops, and they arrested me for public intox and all this other stuff because I have robbery on my record. I'm very open about that. But when they see that, they're like, "Oh, he's a violent person. He's a violent person. No, let's just, oh, he's not on the lease. Oh, he's been drinking." when they're not seeing like she's the one that bought me the alcohol. Like maybe she planned this out so then she could smoke me and then I don't know. But it begs the question like man, because this dude hadn't dead and he talked about I'll working on my editing stuff, but this is a real topic, man. This is a real topic that does not get talked about enough. I've met there was a dude I was in jail with. He showed me his scar on his thigh. His lady, he wasn't listening to his lady. She stabbed him in his thigh. Barely misses femoral heart artery. But nah, if you talk about it, then all of a sudden you hate all women, and this is his blanket statement. Like no man has ever been abused. I've met dudes that there's so many dudes that it's like they get accused of domestic violence just so they can get this taken to family court, just so the parents can alienate the kids. The kids end up either on drugs, joining a gang, something like that, and the cycle continues. Or the kid, in my case, I don't really, I don't really mess with my mom that much. I'll talk to my dad all the time. Like, hey, dad, how you doing? Like, stuff like that. My mom, not really, not really. I forgive her, but I need to keep that at a distance. But anyways, man, domestic violence can happen to men, and hopefully they do let me talk. Hopefully they do let me talk. I'm waiting on a response from them. Um, all right, one love, peace out, stay safe.